Welcome to another video. You guys know I'm pumped. So today we're going to be talking about the difference between cutting carbs on gear, so you're cutting carbs out on gear, versus natty status. Yes, because a lot of people don't like to take compounds or chemistry. So let's talk about the portion part on gear. Okay, many of you guys don't know. If you're new to this, welcome to my videos. Welcome, I'm Coach Elias, and thank you for subscribing. Now, when we're cutting carbs on a cycle, when we build an anabolic matrix, we use this form, right? We add testosterone always as a base, and then we add the other compounds, and we add pathways. Pathways for muscle growth, insulin, longevity, nootropics, vitamins, get swollen, vasodilatation. Man, there's so many things we can do. I even have 9 paths. So there's a lot of ways to do it. But let's go really simple. Testosterone, when you're using it as a base, it could do 2 things with carbs. You could bulk when you're a high dose, just testosterone. You could bulk, be a monster, and all they do is add dianabol. Boom! Now you have freaking huge bodybuilder. That's all he used. You're like, damn man, that guy's huge. That's how he did it. Now, when you add compounds like Tren, that's a cutting compound. Do you cut carbs when you are on Tren? Some people do. You don't have to. You don't have to. Now, this is the difference. If there's a natty guy and he cuts carbs, man, his workouts are going to be weaker. He's not going to be able to put on as much mass because we do need carbs. We do need glycogen in our body. And right now, if you're on gear and you added test and Tren, you know you need to add what? T3. Why? Because your thyroid is suppressed always when you're on Tren. It could be Tren Tren Hex, it could be methyltren tablets, or Tren Ace, which is the one that I prefer because it's stronger and it's out of your body a little bit faster. Tren is more as a longer effect. You will still have night sweats, but people don't feel that Tren cough so much. Now, carbs. You could get away with a lot of things when you're cutting carbs. If you cut carbs when you're on this cycle, right? Test and Tren, what is going to happen? Well, you're going to get shredded to the bone. And it's going to be really hard to go and do leg day. Really hard. But you're going to still look insane cut while on gear. So is it good? If you're cutting, yes. But we're talking about cutting carbs out on gear. So is it recommended that you cut carbs when you're on Tren? No. Because you get away with it. It's like the body's confused and tricked. It's not going to let the body gain fat. And I do it all the time. I pin the test, pin the Tren, and boom, I'll go ahead and eat some fries, a burger, a pizza. I stay shredded. I keep my abs. Now, when do you cut the carbs if you're on this cycle? Oh my God, I see my abs, but I want to see them like in 1 week. Now you cut some carbs. Do you cut them all? No, you don't cut them all. How much are you going to cut? You're going to cut out, if you were at, let's say, 150 grams of carbs. Well, we're going to cut that in half to 75. You're going to still feel energy, you're going to still feel good, and you're going to start cutting. So you're going to leave the body, there's going to be a time frame that you're going to let the body tell you what to do. And you see, there's always that gap that we could improve. But when you cut them out completely, you're just going to get the physique, but then there's nothing else we could do. We could only add compounds like Primo. We could add Proviron. We could add a little bit of EQ. We could add a little bit of Masteron. And yes, this works. Now, simple, right? Now, if it's a natty, this means no chemistry, no anabolic matrix. When do you cut carbs? You have to be super disciplined. That means, coach, I want to transform, but I am willing to die for it. I'm going to do all your trainings, everything. Boom, let's do it. Now, I'm going to give you a diet. You're going to follow the diet to the T. A male is going to have 40 carbs. You're never going to cut carbs completely. So I'm going to have you on 40 carbs on Monday. I'm going to have you on 50 carbs on Tuesday. I'm going to have you on Wednesday on 70 carbs. Thursday, I'm going to have you on 90 carbs. And then on Friday, I'm going to have you on 40 carbs. You're like, oh my God, I'm just playing around. Yes, we're playing around because we want to keep this progress. We don't want to do this. Boom, crash. So when you're natty, you cut the carbs evenly, or you play with them a little bit. And how do we know? Well, easy. You take pictures. It's not rocket science. We have to take pictures. We got to take measurements. If you're natty, we have to take measurements. We have to see how much of other supplements are you taking. In this case, cutting carbs could be beneficial. Now, let's say cutting carbs, going back to gear, cutting carbs on cycle when you are on multiple compounds, but you want to maintain muscle. How do you do it? Well, I always advise anybody to run at least 3 compounds. It could be Test, it could be Primo, and it could be Tren. Now, right there, we have a perfect oil-based matrix. We're going to add peptides, and we're going to add insulin. But what happens? Oh, shoot. I want to cut carbs, but I want to take insulin. Yes, you need carbs, man. You could not take insulin and expect nothing to happen. If you take insulin, you need carbs, mandatory. That means when you pin your insulin, it could be 10 IUs, it could be 5 IUs, you must eat carbs exactly 30 minutes in that window before you put the pin inside your body. So you pinned, you have 30 minutes for all those carbs to go to your muscles and fuel your workout. When you go to the gym, boom, you hit it. Do I cut carbs then? No, you do not cut carbs then, because that means you're at zero. You're at zero. Now you're gonna cut, you're gonna build muscle, but you want to replenish. So you hit it really hard, because when you take insulin, you hit it really hard. You feel it. You feel the pump, the energy. Now is the time to be careful with your carbs. Do not take too much. Don't eat too many carbs. Just play with the carbs like this. If you ate 40 carbs when you pinned the insulin with 10 units, when you finish the workout and you wanted to pin more because you know you're training for a pro league or NPC, now you want to add at least 50 carbs. It's going to leave you at the end at 12, about with, I would say, roughly 16 grams of carbs in your body, which is going to be transformed into fat, glycogen, and what's, But remember, your muscles are recovering, so they're also eating, and they are absorbing all those nutrients. So what else could I do if I can't cut carbs when I'm using insulin? Well, you could take insulin and also add slim pills. Now there you could get the take away the actual point that you're going to be gaining fat, because you're cutting carbs, but now we have something that is actually reducing those carbs and putting them inside your muscles. So that means you're allowed more carbs. You see? So that means you could have sushi, you could have a little bit of pizza, or you could have a giant 200 grams of rice and let's say 1 pound of beef and 3 cups of spinach if you're bulking. And now you're satiated, you took your slim pills, you're like, oh man, today was awesome. I'm gonna do it all over again. This is beautiful, awesome, good job. Now, do you do the same thing the next day? Sure, why not? This is great because you're actually having fun, and it's not about suffering all the time. You must have fun. When you're cutting carbs, you're in a deficit. You feel like crap. And you only do that in an extreme phase of cutting. So when do you cut carbs completely on gear? You cut it when you're at your last 21 days of a prep. How much? You would do it by increments. Do you use insulin? No. On this period, you will not use insulin. I don't recommend it because you're gonna go like, yeah, you're gonna go really hypo, like boom, you're gonna faint and something bad could happen. I don't want your blood sugar to be lower 70, never. I never recommend lower 70. There's some people, even Dr. Tony had his blood sugar like at 49, 59. He's been in a prolonged exposure to these things and he understands the chemistry of his body. So he knows exactly what's good for him. So we treat the patient always, or the client, by what? By the symptoms. So if in a book it says, oh, the glycogen, or the dextro is at 70, that's the lowest a actual adult could be. Yeah, that's in the books. But when I go into the ambulance, do I do the same thing? No. I take it, I look at him, I look at her, okay, it's at 70, but I don't have to run IV with dextro in it. I don't have to, because this patient, that is his high. 70 is the high for that patient. So that means his glucose is high. So that is different, you see? So it's really important that when you start a cycle, you're gonna cut carbs, you have that with you. You need a glucose monitor. So always have it with you. Now, so this person is gonna cut carbs 21 days out. Now he's starting to shred, get rid of the water, muscles are beautiful. Now he's looking at striations, veins, everything's like perfect. When does he add carbs again? Well, about 3 days out, he'll have a really nice carb meal just to fill up those muscles. Then he goes back into the diet. And then on the show day, I'll have him eat like Snickers. I'll have him eat like a whole jar of, it could be a raspberry jam. Amazing. Some rice cakes, boom, boom, boom. And then at show day, the carbs actually, since he was so depleted, it's gonna go perfectly synergistically to the body. So now he has this screaming, beautiful appearance in stage that no one could touch. It's untouchable because you did it perfect. A Natty would have to actually cut the carbs completely and he's gonna be really thin. Is he going to win with someone that's enhanced? No, he will not win. Because the guy that's enhanced is going to have more muscle. The glycogen expanded his muscles more. Now he looks more defined, more cut, more shredded, more vascular. He has like this crazy physique. And we have this Natty that is at like maybe 163, like just looking like a lizard. And beautiful body. Natty, man, that's awesome, dude. You did really good. A lot of people can't do that. But cutting carbs on gear and Natty is different. It's never the same. So if you're gonna take something from this video, take this. Everybody's body, they say is different, right? What is not different is the compounds. Do people react differently to compounds? Yes, they do. But at those specific ranges. So take that and add carbs. If you're in a really high dose cycle, add more carbs. If you're really low dose cycle, add lower carbs. And cut carbs out when you're in an actual higher cycle, but find the right number for you, doing it like I told you guys in the beginning of the video. So that means start with 40, then go up, go up, go up, go up, then bring it back down. If you're at 150, bring carbs down by 10 increments. You got 7 days. You're gonna cut, you're gonna look beautiful, you're gonna look amazing, and you don't have to suffer so much. So what is the difference between cutting carbs out on gear versus Natty? That the actual guy that is on gear has an advantage and an edge, because he could actually decide when to cut carbs if he wants to. Because he added Tren and he had other compounds, he really doesn't have to. But now we have the guy that's Natty, he actually has to push harder and work out more and eat a lot more. And now he only could eat foods that are just really, low in calories. So that means you're in a deficit, but you have to cut the carbs out. Is it fun? No, it's harder. So the difference is that the gear makes it easy, and the guy that's Natty is gonna always work harder for what he wants, but he's not gonna win. So go enhanced. Anyways, you're gonna be enhanced. When you go on stage and you see that you spend all this money on your prep and the other guy beat you, and now you wasted time from your family, your daughter, your kids, everything, man, I mean, it gets to a level that you're you got to open up your mind. You got to be like, you know what, man, maybe that coach is legit. He's for real. Maybe he knows some shit. My guys go through that shit too, man. When they find out the truth, they're like, let's do it. When they're on it on a week with just TRT. Go to the doctor, get TRT prescription, and see how you're gonna feel. Then go to the stage. You're gonna be like, man, what a difference. What a freaking difference. Cutting carbs on TRT is so different than just Natty. Cutting carbs on TRT and Tren is so different than on testosterone or TRT versus Natty. So I hope you guys like this video. Just keep in mind, cutting carbs could be good, but don't make your regimen boring. Make it fun so you enjoy life forever, okay? Anyways, I love you guys. This is Coach Elias from Enhanced Athletes. You guys know I'm out.